got a great challenge this week. Great football team coming in here. It'll be fun to play, Monday Night Football night game at our stadium, and hopefully be able to get our first win at home this year. So looking forward to that challenge, but can take any questions you have.
What did you learn about your offense against the Bears without Justin being in, since he's been healthy for so long coming into last week's game?
Yeah, he has been healthy for a long time. Yeah, I think he didn't run a ton of plays, didn't have a huge sample size, but I think, as we said last week going into the game, just the importance of a lot of people contributing and a lot of people bringing their abilities to the table. And I think that showed with how much we ran the football, leaned on Alex, leaned on Cam. It was a variety of offense, variety of guys we were distributing the football to, so I would think that'll continue.
Kyle Shanahan's always spoken so highly of you and vice versa. What is it about the connection you guys had when you were in Washington that kind of has stayed with you both?
Yeah, he was a big reason I got drafted there, I think, and was fortunate enough to get to work with him for 2 years. His coach, Mike Shanahan, the head coach there when I was drafted there, has really been a mentor for me and somebody that I've always gone to for wisdom and counsel, and the same for Kyle and Matt LaFleur and Sean McVay and a lot of those guys, Mike McDaniel, that were in that staff that I just have a lot of respect for and enjoyed working with. And it was positive 2 years for me, kind of learning the league, and have just kind of, we've all kind of followed each other, I think, ever since then, and that's kind of where it's been.
When he left, did you ever think that you would one day get reunited with him on the same team?
Man, when he left, I mean, we had just gone 3-13. Yeah. I had played the last 3 games. We went 0-3. I mean, we were all kind of just in disbelief about where we were, and so it's been amazing to see kind of where everybody's paths have gone since then, and it's been a great lesson to me that tough times don't last, tough people do. And that was something that Coach Mike Shanahan always said, and I've learned to believe in strongly. So we didn't know what to expect back then, but you kind of believe that the cream rises to the top in time, and I think that's proven true in the case of a lot of those coaches.
Kirk, whether it's Mike Shanahan or I guess some of the other guys, probably harder with the guys that are coaching in the league still, but how much do you still get a chance to talk to those guys and catch up with the people on that staff?
I don't intersect with the coaches as much, I think, because it's illegal. Yeah. So I don't really talk to the ones that are on the other teams. Obviously, you shake their hands pregame, postgame, whatever it may be. Clint Kubiak's on the staff with the Niners, and he's a coach I spent a lot of time with, more time with him than any of the guys I've mentioned previously. So you certainly have that, but you try to keep the connections to a minimum outside of that, just to be above bar. But when I'm done playing, I expect to see, reach out to those guys a lot.
Well, like with Mike, do you get a chance to talk to him?
Yeah, Mike would probably be the one I can talk to more. It's still not a lot, but it's, whenever something comes up, I think it's a really, really strong resource that I'd be foolish not to bend his ear.
Kirk, what has made the 49ers pass rush specifically, so good the last few years?
I mean, I always say it's kind of a combination of great players and great scheme. When you marry the two, you can get a great outcome. So I think that's kind of the way they've built it, and it's worked well for them.
Kirk, what are some of the keys to what has been able to enable Purdy to play as well as he has, as quickly as he has in that system?
I haven't studied it much. I mean, I'm watching it on Sunday Night Football when I get home from a game, and it's kind of one eye on it and one eye on my boys playing. But I would think it's the same reasons quarterbacks play well. You got to be a great decision maker. You got to be accurate with the football. You got to have great command. You got to be able to manage the game well, and forget all the other things you do or all the other abilities you have. If you don't do those things, accuracy, game managing, great decision making, good command, the other traits don't really matter as much. And so I think that anybody who plays well, including Brock, is really doing a good job of those initial traits.
Kirk, has there been talk that, listen, no team is infallible, obviously. They lost. This could be a turning point for our team. Catch lightning in a bottle, beat them. How much weight do you put on something like that?
I think our talk is always just about 1-0 that week. And you don't really think about, bigger stories beyond that. Just how do we get a win this week, and try to keep it really simple, and not really look back, not really look too far forward, and just focus on how do we get the win this week against a really good football team.
Kirk, when defenses can move pass rushers everywhere, what's still the value of having a good left tackle and somebody that on the blind side you can just set and forget?
Well, I think there's a fact as a righty quarterback that you're probably going to sense your right side a little bit more than your left. So there's obviously a lot of value in that factor. And I think that left tackles, will always be, if you have a really good tackle, you're going to try to get him on the left. I think sometimes just the way it may work out, if you already have one, guy gets comfortable on the right, he's going to stay on the right. But for the most part, if you feel like you got the guy for the long haul, you try to put him on the left. And, it's kind of always a position that, a lot of responsibility and then a lot of respect, too, that goes with playing left tackle because of how challenging it can be.
On that his first start, you said you almost forgot he was there.
Yeah, it's a good thing, right?
Yeah, it seems like
Yeah.
he seems like an easy guy to forget.
Yeah, well, like even in walkthrough, Garrett's pretty talkative. Brian's always going to let his opinions be known, all in positive ways. And maybe I just sense the guards more because they're right in front of me. But CD's the one that you kind of sometimes you forget he's there because he's just quiet, goes about his business, and if he does talk, you better listen. You got something to say. And so, it's a great thing when he can just lock down his position, do his job, and get to the end of the game, and you didn't even notice. That's a good thing.
Kirk, do you enjoy playing on Monday night more than your classic noon Sunday game? It's a little extra juice knowing it's on the national stage.
Yeah, I think there'll be great energy at US Bank on Monday night. I think that every game has energy, but certain ones tend to you feel it more in warm-ups, you feel it more early. I thought that the Chiefs game had a lot of energy. And I think the Monday night game against the Niners will be no different.
Michigan this weekend.
Yeah.
Just what do you remember about the rivalry and how much pride you take in year 3-0 as a starter?
Yeah, it's a great rivalry. It's very personal. When you grow up in the state, it means a lot to you. And I plan to probably spend a lot of time in the state when I retire from football. So it'll be very personal then too. And Coach D'Antonio used to always say that, when you win that game, you walk the streets for the next year, and when you lose that game, you walk the alleys. And so I always said, once the 3 games I got to play in against him because we won all 3, I said for the rest of my life, I'll be walking the streets in my hometown. I'm not going to be walking the alleys. I don't care what happens from here on out. I played in 3 of them, won 3 of them. I'm going to walk the streets. So if you come to Holland in about 2030, you'll see me on 8th Street with my green and white on in downtown Holland. Yeah.
You plan to celebrate National Tight End Day on Sunday?
Is that Sunday? We probably do need to do something. So thanks for the reminder. I'll have to give some thought to that, and I'm sure George Kittle has something planned too for his tight ends. If anybody's going to enjoy that day, it'd be him. So I'll have to ask Hawk and Kittle what they got going.
Why do you think Iowa has become kind of a tight end factory?
It's a good question. I don't know that I have a great answer. I think certainly the scheme probably coaches tight ends to be more familiar with what they're going to be asked to do at the pro level. I think sometimes tight ends in certain offenses are just receivers, and they get to the pro level and it's like, whoa, I gotta know how to block this and that, and on the fly change my rules to this or that. And so I would guess the guys at Iowa come a little bit more, or are as pro ready as a tight end's going to be from any scheme in college football, and I think they learn to block really well, and then ultimately it probably comes down to the athlete and the player, and they must be finding some really good athletes wherever they're finding them. All righty, thanks guys. Yep.